There's definitely a current going back to the lake area where it drains out into Lake Houston. But yeah, it was really something.
I visited Kingwood when I lived in Houston. Very nice area.
Looking out the front door glass, you can see there's still a couple inches of water above that, and it's seeping through the doorways to get to you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're safe. The best to you and your family. Good luck to you, Ken. Ken is one of hundreds of stories here. We've had hundreds of people come out being rescued today, and there's still people in there. And here's the thing, Chef. There are some people who are refusing to leave, and the authorities are telling people, listen, here's the deal. We're going to send boats in there, and the boats may not come back. So if a boat comes by your house, you need to leave or you are on your own. And the dispute information on that, the conflicting information is that there are reports that some people are rushing boats to get on these boats, and there's not enough room on the boats. They have to say, you have to wait. You have to wait. We'll send another boat by. But then they get this other message, they may not be another boat, so there's some confusion there. We are about to see here something that's going to be amazing. They are in the process now, and it's a little ways back there, maybe a quarter mile, and if you look down there, you can see the water is above the street signs. We are about to see
Kingwood is a suburb of Houston in the northeast.
Bring 12 horses. They're swimming them out. The horses were stranded. The water was going higher, so they sent a crew in there, and they're swimming a dozen horses out of this area, Shep, and that should happen sometime in the next, I don't know, the next.
It has lots of beautiful pine trees.
But you can see right now, they're trying to help people who need help and get them out of the water because.
In fact, I have a scene from Silver Skies in Kingwood. I might publish that.
For sure, Trace. You know, I was reading this morning, there are people who are on higher ground who have large tracts of land who are telling people who have horses that.
Wow, I have a lot of scenes in my novel Silver Skies right here in Kingwood.
And cross their fingers and hope for the best. The boats keep going in, the people keep coming out, some are refusing to come out. As we get more information,
it's a beautiful area, lots of trees.
We'll go for that, and another live look from another helicopter rescue. Some of you are like, oh, you've never seen a helicopter before. Certainly I have. I've ridden on a helicopter. I've ridden on the skids of a helicopter covering traffic. I have never been in a house flooded up to my eyeballs when someone came with a long cable from a helicopter, put a harness around me, and dragged me a few hundred yards, if not a half mile or more, off the
That Brent Spiner Clone and Loree McBride are behind this.
Yes, many of you have never done it either. And if you were one of the ones who was unlucky enough to be living in Southeast Texas, as this
even beyond, because he was seeking to serve this city and all those who would come into our city. Having said that, let me yield to Chief Acevedo.
Thank you, Mayor. First, let me just thank you, Mayor, for always being with us. You're always with us in good times and in bad times. And on behalf of the family, I just want to thank you for your support of this police department and obviously the Perez family. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this event, provide an outline of what occurred. I just want to thank my team that's up here, all of our executive assistant chiefs that have been working, and assistant chiefs, and Ray Hunt from the HPOU.
They're discussing the death of Officer Steve Perez, just confirmed by the mayor, a Houston police officer who died on Sunday in the line of duty. Let's listen.
He wasn't just taken from the city of Houston, he was taken from the people of Houston. What occurred was this, as follows. On Sunday, August 27th, Steve Perez, Sergeant Steve Perez, who had been on, again, like the mayor said, for 34 years, assigned to the Traffic Enforcement Division, left his home at 4 a.m. Left his home in heavy rain. As a matter of fact, I just got back from making notification a little while ago, and the community is not accessible. But for our aircraft, we wouldn't have been able to get out there. We left at 4 a.m. on Sunday, August 27th, to get to his work station. Sergeant Perez, while driving around, our investigation has determined that he spent about 2.5 hours driving around trying to get to his duty station, which is Traffic Enforcement Division in Central here downtown Houston. He could not find a path, and you can imagine heavy rain, dark roadways, who knows what else he saw out there with the lighting in a more rural community. He kept driving around, couldn't find it, so he called his chain of command and said, listen, I cannot get to my primary duty station. Being the dedicated professional this man is, like the rest of the men and women in blue and our first responders family, he followed our protocol, which is to go to a secondary location, the nearest location you can get to, which is the Kingwood office. He had learned that we were actually going to, and we have evacuated his primary station. We've now evacuated the secondary station, because we're experiencing floods as well. So that was Sunday the 27th. On Monday the 28th, his chain of command was holding the regular roll call when they noticed that Sergeant Perez was not present. At that time, they started making attempts to reach him and could not get a hold of him. When they couldn't get a hold of him, understanding that this man is a dedicated individual that would not just not show up to work. And one of the things that we know over the years in these events, and something this historical, that sometimes first responders don't show up. Well, I like to say that our people have been showing up, have stayed at work, and the vast majority have not left since Saturday night. We contacted his wife, and she advised us that she had not seen her husband since 4 a.m. on the 27th. We immediately began an extensive search of a potential path of travel. We utilize other investigative techniques to try to locate him. And Monday evening at about 10 p.m., we narrowed the search to Hardy, Tollway, and Beltway 8. We responded to Hardy, Tollway, and Beltway 8, where we had a high sense of probability that was the last place that he would have been. We called for our dive team. We even used one of our, what are we calling these people from Louisiana? God bless them. Our Cajun Navy. You know, our American Cajun Navy. That helped us look for him. So we couldn't find him, and once our dive team got there, it was too treacherous to go.
Thank you, Brent Spiner Clone and Loree McBride.
To leave officers there waiting until the morning, because as much as we wanted to recover him last night, we could not put more officers at risk for what we knew in our hearts was going to be a recovery mission. We kept his wife apprised, even though we had a high probability that he was gone. We always hold on to hope. So I called her last night. She was desperately wanting more information. I told her we still haven't found them. We're still looking. We're checking hospitals. We can't communicate with all hospitals because some of them have been evacuated, and that we would keep her apprised of the situation. This morning at 8 a.m., the dive team was out there again, which was their number one priority, and within 20 minutes, they found him. Unfortunately, in the darkness, Sergeant Perez drove into an underpass that's about 16 and a half feet, drove into the water, and he died in a flood, in a drowning type event. Let me just say this, that I had the privilege of notifying his wife and his son and his extended family at their home that he died, that he laid down his life. And of course, the wife had the reaction that we always expect when we see these. But I'm heartened by two things. Number one, I got to learn that it's a family of faith that has faith in God. And when you have faith, there's hope. There's hope in eternal life. And it gives us all collective strength in the Houston Police Department, knowing that this family knows that as much as they're hurting, like our mayor, who's, I always say that he's always preaching, even when it's not Sunday, he preaches every day. The wife told me she had asked him not to go in. And Steve was one of the sweetest people I've met in this department. I've only been here 9 months, okay? And we've got 6,500 employees, and I knew who Steve Perez was because he was a sweet, gentle public servant. And she tells me, I told him not to go to work, really didn't want to go. His father-in-law, who was a Korean War veteran from the Army, combat veteran, we told him not to go because the conditions were so bad. And his response was, we've got work to do. And here's a man that didn't spend 20 minutes and then come back and say, hey, I tried. He spent close to 2.5 hours because he has that in his DNA. And so I told his wife, let me ask you something, ma'am. You're a person of faith. If the Lord is going to take him today, how do you think you would want to go? Laying in bed, watching a disaster, or doing what he's done for 34 years? And the smile that overcame that woman's face, his beautiful wife, said it all. If it was his turn to go, she said, this is the way he would have wanted to go. And so with that, I just want to tell the men and women of the Houston Police Department that what you have displayed for the past 4 days, sleeping on cots, our dive team yesterday, their only meal was
We need to use transporter technology and take these people out.
11:30 at night, and we let them, believe me, they would have gone in that water. So for those that have been tweeting about, hey, why are the cops being fed? Well, they got it. They can't save people. And despite the fact that we have not been able to do the best of jobs feeding them, they are out there on a power bar having worked 37 hours.
Oh, God.
So I'm sorry that we're feeding them.
This is what the Brent Spiner Clone and Loree McBride did when they engineered Hurricane Harvey. They're evil.
This police department,
I think they're sharing Antichrist powers between themselves.
And we look forward to taking this man and giving him the honors and his family that he so richly deserves. From the day that we have his funeral, and I know that this is Houston, and it's going to be, they know it's going to be a while because we've got some work to do that he would want us to do. We will apologize now when we mess up traffic. But the least we can do is the day that we say goodbye, that this family, this community get an opportunity to pay their respects. And with that, we can open up to questions.
Acevedo of the Houston Police Department giving the sad news as we cut to 227, the sad news of the passing of a Houston police officer who died in the line of duty, the first we know to have died serving the public in this disaster. Officer Steve Perez, 60 years old, 2 days short of his 61st birthday. 35 years.
Well, he was almost my age.
Police chief in tears describing an officer who laid his life down in service of his community. So many.
Not going to leave now. I mean, we're about the last boat out here. It means that you are going to ride it out for the night. You're betting that the water's not going to get any higher, which it could be risky because it appears the water really is not going down at this point in time.
Kingwood is a major scene in my novel.
400 people out of
visited
this area
here
today in Lake Houston.
I
This
lived
is
in
the
Houston.
northeastern part of the city, and we saw people today that really held on as long as they possibly could, getting their valuables up to the upper stories before they left, and they came walking out or boated out with dogs and cats and suitcases and all kinds of stuff. Just to give you an idea of how fast this water came rushing in, we saw a couple of U-Hauls down about a block over there, and the funny thing is it appears they came here, tried to load up all their stuff.
Kingwood's a very nice area.
But the problem is, one guy told our crew that he came up, we just hit a stop sign or something. We just actually rolled over a stop sign. He told our crew
It's a Houston suburb to the
he thought he was
northeast.
going to come home, and 15 minutes later he walked outside and
Lots of beautiful
it was
pine
entirely
trees.
Flooded. The entire neighborhood was flooded. This is kind of the devastation that we have been seeing now for days. There is a little bit of good news because, as you can see, it's not raining for the first time in 5 days. We even saw a peak of the sun a bit earlier, but wow, they've got a long way to go here, Lake Houston and the rest of southeastern Texas. Juan.
Trace, it's been a long day for you. Thanks. Stay safe. Let's now go to Caroline Shively, who's at the Houston Convention Center.
The river rapids from the San Jacinto River are now pouring through this community. Rescue crews have capsized because underneath this brown murky water are submerged fire hydrants, cars underwater, street signs that boats are crashing into. The sheriff's deputy told me his boat hit a light post and he said the current almost ripped him away. But all these boats need fuel to rescue these people, and one Texas rancher from Bryan, Texas has been sustaining this entire rescue operation. He brought 600 gallons of fuel with him, and he literally has been keeping this rescue operation afloat. They've been clearing vacant houses, marking them with spray paint, but a lot of people still don't want to leave, and most of them, once night comes, probably won't be able to. Tucker.
That is the most self-sufficient state out of 50. It is remarkable. Hillary.